Salam, this is Joan. I'm making the tape. It's for the month of March, and it has to do with how I implemented my progress as a Muslim. I'm going to start with the prayer. It's from Surah 113 in the Quran, and it's Al-Falaq, which is daybreak. Allah ina elsha antakum al-fajr al-mini min shiri bilayla minamutal and minahasadin. And it basically says, Allah, I seek refuge in you. You are the Lord of the daybreak, from the evil that exists, from the night as it darkens, from an envier when they envy. I mean, it did say in the clear Korean that verbatim it was from witches blowing on knots, casting spells. So I wanted to mention that. I was trying to figure out how to transfer that into daily life, and so I did it a little differently. What I'm doing with prayer, I live in a all-women's dorm because I've been victimized for belief. I used to have my autonomy. I provided for myself, but what's happening is that there are about 100 plus women, and there's limited space, so that when it comes to pray, I can't do it in private. People need the area where I can. So I'm having to do my prayer on my bunk, and it's the top bunk, so I'm not able to stand, and I'm learning that the term for that is Kayam. I do, if I ever take a break from the dorm and I'm entering my own housing, I am standing and doing the 9 yards of the prayer better, but that's a concern right now. I've been studying more about Hafiz and additional books in the Quran. The most recent ones have had to do with, it was the book about horses, and it was called Adiyat, Adiyat. And then there was one on Bayina, and it was about how there are polytheists, any type of philosophy that deviates from Islam and what's done. So we welcome them to the faith and teach them about it, and then note their reactions to it. And then if they decide that they accept it and they're upright and trying to keep the laws, then our lives are blessed. But if you reject it, it's kind of a doomed path. And then I think there was another one after that. Oh, the blood clot, the cleaning blood clot. And it was about prayer, protecting it, protecting a believer, and how sometimes someone might want to interrupt prayer. That does happen to me when I'm praying, trying to pray in private. Someone will need the space that I'm in. So it's tougher to pray, but it gives a warning. It says that if anyone would prevent you from praying and that results in loss of faith, that the person will be punished. Literally, it said they would be grabbed by the forelock and punished. So that's where I am with additional books. This is obviously Ramadan, and I've been fasting, but again, in a controlled environment, not in my own home, so that I'm not able to decide when I can have food. They offer food during specific hours, so I have to just comply with them, running into a problem with overlapping of time. But my goal is to improve speech. So I started watching a tape by, his name is Newman Khan, about divine speech. And so by the end of the month, by the 31st, I'm wanting to just to be able to control what I say. And I've got tomorrow practiced phrases. So I'm just going to greet people, ask them how they are, and then try to only speak about God, avoid negativity. And if I don't accomplish that by the end of the month, I just plan to do it until the end of the year till I achieve my goal. And what he's taught so far that I've learned to make sure we inspire belief in the people around us, that they find Islam to be welcoming and inspirational. Then I saw a phrase that was talking about purification of your heart. I wasn't sure what that was. I heard before about never going to a worship service unclean, and I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't know if it meant with a disease that's contagious, or if it meant internally, just not with the right attitude. So I thought maybe it meant the entire thing. I think this is the same. Purifying one's heart is kind of whether you're clean. But I looked it up, and online what it said was it's to have spiritual growth. And it listed that as removing negativity, adding sincerity, repentance, humility, love for Allah, good deeds, interest in learning, to show no arrogance or jealousy. And what else? Morality, love of faith in that, associating with other righteous people. That's kind of difficult for me right now. I don't have that happening. So I am worshiping with a group of people. I'm hoping to move soon and be a more daily part of, have a more active role in association with them. But purifying your heart is accountability to yourself with improvement, knowing your own errors. Sometimes it's easy to know a whole bunch of errors other people are doing, but to remove your own errors, that's when you're really making progress. Something I liked about that I read, I think it was through Seekers Forum. The man was discussing how every day we kind of sell ourselves and something about our own philosophy. It's a 50-50 program, and he wanted to make sure that our daily activity inspires people towards God. That was also in Newman Khan's information, that each ayat of the Quran should send somebody in a direction towards God. And that's what we're supposed to do. And we're supposed to, of course, have a positive image of a spouse and make sure that that's protected and holy. And then I did learn a hadith. I guess there's several of them. And Muhammad made it. He said that no Muslim should be oppressed. And the book that it was listed in was called Qudsi. And it says that we should prevent the oppression, at least by saying, don't do that if you see it happening. That if the oppressor continues to do it, they're punished swiftly. We're to listen to the supplications of the poor. If you see an oppressor bothering someone, you should get up and leave. Of course, you have to think of a way to fix it. And whatever way we handle oppression, when we know it exists, is saying that we'll be treated the same way. And it's listing Bukhari 43 for where the information is coming from. We help all Muslims stop oppression. It did mention that if we fail to improve the lives of the oppressed, we might be punished ourselves along with what they're experiencing. And if you've damaged the character of someone by oppressing them, you should beg forgiveness. We're to help with our hand, tongue, and hearts. If you don't, that shows weak faith. So I did want to mention that I'm a victim of oppression. I've been oppressed now for a decade. And I'm staying in a place called the Kearney Center. It's emergency housing. So I spent time thinking about what causes the oppression. And what I think it is the women I'm around might have family problems because they don't tend to really see anybody but them. There's prejudice happening. That's what's going on in my life. And there doesn't seem to be any connection to a large group that can help them. Some kind of religious agency or company that might match their interests. So the people I've been around, they're Allah's group of people. And I know they want to help me, but it hasn't turned out so far. It might soon. They're talking about it. Other groups, I'm not sure that there's anybody else. And that covers all of this month's activities.